now you're like you go to foreplay.
Yeah.
You become. It was a while where you're like the 2.5 member.
Well,
now you're
we
like
talked
fully.
to Dave. I was like, I sat down with Dave and I was like,
I remember that. That was a tough period of time where Frankie was doing. You were doing. At one point,
We
you
were
were full time both though, which is always the hardest.
Foreplay. We were recording foreplay at like 11 o'clock at night,
right,
like in the office. After Dave would leave at like 8, we'd sit there, we'd write a rundown, and we'd do it. And I would only jump on. I never did guest interviews, like so. It was a very weird time, and I never did videos for sure. Like my first time ever doing a video with them was when like I took over the YouTube page, and that was only a couple years ago, like during COVID. So I sat down Dave at Kentucky Derby. And I was like, hey, like obviously, like I'm doing both. Like, what do you think should be my next move? Like, what's the best decision for Frankie Borrelli? And I never thought I'd be able to ask Dave Portnoy that. Like, that was ballsy. And
I can't believe Dave gave you. I'm guessing.
Well, he was just like,
answer.
I think your future is probably better off like trying to do foreplay. He's like, it's a big brand, like, and if you want to do that, go ahead and do it. Like, I can figure it out. Like, I'll get a guy. So it was an amazing conversation. I wanted to like hug the guy. I'm like, all right, like
Dude,
I'm gonna miss it.
It is funny when.
And then
when
2 years went by where I wasn't able to move. It was so good. Like, I just kept
say
saying,
that.
Remember that conversation we had
Right.
Lexington.
If he had found a replacement for you right away, it probably would have been fine.
Well, the way that I got Austin in here was I basically hid him from Dave. So Austin was helping me during, like, we were doing pizza reviews. Obviously, the unboxings was insane. The unboxings was like the craziest time of my life. I wept. I cried in front of my family. One night, I came downstairs and I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Wait, why was that so hard? Because that was just IG
Bro,
Live, I thought.
He would do IG Live from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning, and I would have to sit there from 10 to 1 a.m. writing down what I thought were all the best gifts, and then he would WeTransfer them to me. So that was a nightmare. The videos were 3 hours long.
Right.
So he'd have to sit there. He'd have no Wi-Fi, and he'd WeTransfer me the video, and then I would have to edit it and have it up by 9 a.m. each day, and that went on for 31 straight days. So by day 21, I was like, I just can't do it.
and you're also doing the podcast at that point?
And I started that Behind the Greens video.
Because I was going to say, at that point, I would just
was,
be nocturnal, but you can't.
So
really,
I would
you're
edit the
doing
video
shit
until
during the
like
day.
4 a.m. and then I'd go to Wingfoot and we filmed the new series, and that was like our biggest video ever. So it's like the things that were happening. But then Austin and Marina, who obviously Marina's like she's my queen. Marina has helped me throughout my entire career. If I didn't have her, I never would have made it through Dave. There's so many times where like I couldn't get to something, and she's just like, I'm obviously in front of the computer, I can get it. During that time, like I had this guy Austin who was from Boston. He was helping me do a lot of pizza reviews. So he was like, "Hey man, I'm a go-getter. I know everything about Dave. I know his mannerisms. I'm a diehard Dave Portnoy fan. And I knew you needed someone like that.
Yeah.
That would like trust, that I could trust." So I was sending him a bunch of pizza reviews, and I was editing them because at this time a lot of the stuff was remote. Dave would send it to me from his phone.
Right.
So it got to the point
by the way,
where,
you have to know, like when we hire outside cameramen and editors, they always botch it.
Fail every single time.
And like the people, like they'll have the camera on like the thing over here, and it's like, no, you have to be on Dave, or you have to be like knowing how to shoot Dave. Knowing how to shoot Barstool style is one thing, and then knowing how to shoot Dave is like a whole other thing.
He's got to have a feel for the moment. He's always pointing at things. But so Austin would film, he would edit a pizza review, and I would edit the same one, and I would check them. And if I felt like it wasn't right, I just post mine. So I was sending it to him, letting him practice.
But you were doing it yourself.
And I was doing it myself. And then months of that went by.
That's
like,
a cool way to
months and months. And Dave didn't even know this kid existed. He was in Boston. He drove down to New York one day because his Wi-Fi went out. And he's like, I'm going to come get the fucking card. And that's how I knew he had it. He slept in my apartment. Like, it was my first time meeting him. I'm like, bro, here's the card.
For just like one review?
Just for like 6. We did like a bunch of reviews somewhere in like Jersey. And I had 7 of them. And I'm like, I'm trying to send these to you. And he's like, I'm going to come down there and get it. So he drove at like 10 o'clock at night, got to my place at like 3 a.m. He took the card, slept on my couch, and then went back to Boston and edited the videos.
Really?
So shout out to Austin. That's how I knew.
Big shout out to
And
Austin.
So
then
you kind of like
I just one day I just switched him.
Yeah.
And he never noticed.
It's like,
if you own a house, you need to have some sort of security, or you're going to be the idiot who ends up with getting all your valuables stolen or your family harmed. So go to simplysafe.com right now. Get 50% off your home security system. You need it, and you can get it for free. Go.
Miyagi-ing somebody kind of like.
And like
Dave, those pizza reviews have been pretty good
posting
recently, huh?
them, and like Marina would post like then Austin would send the pizza review to Marina, so that at some point
Was
I
there
was just
a reveal to Dave?
Well, then, like,
at one
finally,
point, were you ever
like, he
like,
would
hey,
come into the office, and I'd be like, "This is the guy that's been doing this," and then he met with him, and I got Gaz on. Gaz kind of facilitated it. He's like, "This guy's really good." But yeah, there was like
how many
this,
times
like,
do we say it? Like the number one way is like to just do it.
just do it.
But it's like, but people are like, okay, and it's like, no, but like literally, fucking.
And
go
you also
film
have to know
like,
that it falls on you when it messes up. When I was doing all that shit, had like when I gave them full like control, where it was like, Austin, send this to Marina and post this. If that review was fucked up that night, he's not calling Austin and Marina. He's calling me.
Right.
So I have to make sure
that's like that's when you become almost like a producer and you're delegating and
Yeah.
shit, but you still,
there was
you're
a lot
still
of
the
delegating
person.
going on. It was nerve wracking. It was a nervous time, but I mean, now they're fucking killing it.
So, but like, do you? I feel like you look back on it being like, I loved it, like
I love it.
but you didn't. You know, like at the
Oh,
time you were like,
yeah.
you're
Whenever
crying
you're in
your
that
family
role-
and like
when you're in that role, it's
yeah.
like-
I'm just saying it's so funny you get even just a little bit of distance. This is not like like 10 years ago and you can, it's like this was your last
Like a year
role.
ago,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like and you already kind of forget how
But there is that
fucking
that
hard
like
the
camaraderie. No, it's not even camaraderie because you weren't really sharing the experience with anyone. But when you get through the storm, you're like, that was scary when we were in there, but like that was kind of fucking wild,
Yeah.
right?
I